Hello! In this extra video, we're going to learn about a command that allows us to keep our terminal alive even when you get disconnected from the remote server. That's something very useful, very important when you run analysis that take a long time, as we're going to see. Let's say that one day you are there working on the terminal, accessing the remote machine, happily working away, and you've been running some analysis that's quite heavy, and it's been going on for hours or even days. Some analysis we do could run for days or even weeks, non-stop. There's a program that takes a long time because it needs a lot of analysis. It could run for a long time. But then, all of a sudden, your internet connection drops, for example, or your laptop crashes, your desktop crashes, you have a bug in the system, whatever, or you lose power. Happens a lot in the summer here in São Paulo, at least, when there's a thunderstorm. Well, your connection to the remote server where your analysis was running is lost. Then you lost all your work. That's not good. Usually, when the connection drops, whatever was running in the remote machine dies together with the connection, disappears. Some people have already mentioned in the chat during the course the no-hup command. It stands for no hang up, and that's one possible solution to this problem. If you put no-hup, then the command, the job actually that you're running, followed by the ampersand, you will keep that program alive even if the connection drops, because the signal for hanging up the connection will not be obeyed by the program, so it stays running. But that's not the best solution. We have a better one. The program screen allows us to keep the remote session alive, even if your connection drops or you turn off your local computer. As long as the remote computer is running, everything is good. And you can later reopen the session from even a different computer if you want. Let's say you're working at your desktop at work and you are going home, so you disconnect that computer. The remote server is still running your analysis. You get home, you can connect your session, your terminal, from the remote server into your home computer, and vice versa. After you're done home, you can disconnect and connect somewhere else, from anywhere in the world actually, if your firewall settings allow you to do that. And most importantly, your terminal is alive, and whatever it was doing, it's still being done. As long, of course, as the remote computer does not crash or have any problems, then it will keep running. And it's very easy to start this program called Screen. You just type the name Screen. Then you'll see a welcome message, which you can just dismiss by pressing the Enter key or the space key on the keyboard. So let's see here that quickly. Here we are in the remote server. If we type Screen and press Enter, we're going to see a message, copyright, GNU Screen, the version of the program, when it was compiled, and then down there, press space for next page, return to end. Let's press space, see what comes. Some more of the message, and once you're done, you press return, and it disappeared. What happened? Looks like nothing happened, but actually it is still running. Screen is keeping your session alive. And of course, besides keeping your screen alive, which is the most important thing usually, it allows us to also create multiple screens. So screen is called a multiplexer for the command line. It's a window manager, so to speak, for the command line. It allows us, with one connection, to have multiple windows, multiple terminals inside of one program, which can be quite handy. I'll show you in a moment one that I have in a server that's been running for many months, maybe even more than a year, I'm not sure. Let me show you quickly some of the main commands for screen, and then we can try there in that screen I just created. Every screen command starts with the Ctrl-A combination. So we press Ctrl A and then another key after that. We press Ctrl A, let go, and press the next key. For example, Ctrl A, C will create a new screen within the session where we are. So if I get here to our little terminal, I am inside of screen. I just ran screen. If I press Ctrl A and then C, looks like nothing happened. But actually now I have two screens inside of this session. Let's say I list here. You see, I have some listing on the screen. Let me see what's the next command. It's Ctrl A, then N, or Ctrl A and P. These allow us to navigate through the screens we have open in the session, to go to the next, if there is one, and go to the previous, if there is one, of course. I ran ls in this screen. Now I'm going to press Ctrl A, then N, and see, I'm back to the other screen. I could do here, for example, cat, one of our files that we had as an example. And if I keep pressing Ctrl A, N, I keep going from one screen to the other. And you see, I'm always inside of the same terminal connection. This one here, in my remote machine connection. If I do Ctrl A, P, it's the same thing because I have only two screens. So going to the previous or to the next is the same thing. Next command, Ctrl A, D, that detaches the session, which means we get out of this screen session, but the session is still alive. So here, if I press Ctrl A, then D, we see a message, which means the screen we were running was detached. And this is the identifier for that session. We have here a number, which is probably the process identifier. We have here the terminal identifier, the TTY, and the name of the machine in this case. So let's say by accident I closed my connection to the remote server. Did I lose what I was running there? Let's see. I can connect back again. And now that I'm here, I can run screen -R to reattach. And now what I was running earlier is back here. The two screens in this session are still alive, and they will be as long as I don't turn them off. Let's see some more commands here. Ctrl A, K will close one of the screens inside of a session. It is the same as writing exit. So let's say I don't need this part of my session anymore, this screen here of the two I have. I'm pressing Ctrl A and the P or the N to go from one to the other. And I don't need this one anymore. I can do Ctrl A and K. Then it asks, really kill this window? Because I could have pressed that by mistake. Ctrl A, K. I was intending to press something else, let's say. So I say Y, yes. I press the Y key to say, yeah, I want to kill this one. Now, it says there window 1, which was running bash, was killed. And now I have only one screen again. I can keep this one alive. I can go out. I got out of the session. I'm back to the regular command line here without screen. And I can go back to it with screen -R. As I just shown you, screen -R will reattach the screen session even to the same computer or to a completely different computer later. I could have detached here, Ctrl A, D, and then gone to the lab, for example, and reattached it there. If we have only one session that is running in that computer in our user's name, that's all we need, just screen -R. If I have more than one, which I never do, because I like to create screens inside of my session, so I don't have to create several screen instances, several sessions separately. But if you do have more than one, then you have to give the name of the session to the command, which is done like this, or like this. You don't need to put the whole thing there. You can put just one unambiguous part there. Here, for example, screen -R. Then I press tab. It completes for me something there, which goes back to the screen session. I'm gonna detach again, Control A, D. Then I'm gonna try using the number 32, 6, and then I got lazy and stopped typing. It went inside of the session anyway, because it was not ambiguous. There was no other screen session with a name starting with those digits. A thing about screen is that you see the scroll bar here doesn't work anymore. You cannot go up. When we're out of screen, usually we can go up and see what happened earlier in our terminal. We're gonna see how to check that in screen in a moment. And to detach a screen session remotely, you can use the -D option and then the number or the full name of the session. That is useful, for example, if you forgot to detach your session from work. Let's say you were working on your project there, and then you went home and forgot to detach, and you want to attach at home to be able to look at what happened to your analysis, how it's going, if everything's okay. Then you should log into the remote server, then type screen -D and the session number or complete identifier, and then it will detach from the machine where it was attached, your desktop. And then you can do screen -R and attach to your local machine that you want to use at home, for example, in our little example here. And screen has lots and lots of features. If we look at the manual, it is gigantic. It is very large. Let's take a quick look here. The manual page for screen. It is a full screen window manager that multiplexes a physical terminal between several processes. A very fancy way of putting it. And then you can see there is a lot. It's a very long manual page. Here are some commands, which they call key bindings. See Control A, and then some other key will give you something, some action. So Control A C, for example, which I just told you about a moment ago, creates a new window with the shell running in it and goes to that window. So it creates a new one. If we keep going down, we're going to find here the Control A K to kill, destroy the current window, and so on. There is a lot of stuff that you can do with this program. It is very sophisticated. And one important thing that we can do, which I just mentioned a moment ago, is to scroll up to be able to see things that fell off the screen. So we can look at them and maybe copy them to paste somewhere else. That's called the copy or scroll back mode. And you can start that with Control A followed by the opening square brackets. Let's see here if I'm connected. I'm not connected. I can see here my scroll bar. I'm not inside of screen. So let me reattach my session. Here we are. I'm going to create here another screen. So I have two of them. I'm going to get the content of something here on the screen, just so I have some output, but I can't go up. See, I can use the mouse, it doesn't go up. I can use page up, page down, nothing moves. So if I press Control A and the opening bracket, you see it shows copy mode down here. And there was a plus 1024 here, which means we have 1024 lines in memory that we can look at. And I'm pressing page up here and going up. Or I can press the arrow keys to go up and down slowly. And I can go left and right, keep going up, seeing all I have here. Well, I got to the top. The file X that I sent here to my screen is more than 1024 lines. So I only see the final 1024. Now I want to get out of the copy mode. I can just press the Q key on the keyboard. And then it says copy mode aborted, and it's back to the prompt. So we can go up and down, copy something, and when we're done looking at it or copying or whatever we're doing there, we can press the Q key. The number of lines that are kept in the memory for this scroll back mode can be changed, either inside of the program itself, and then it will work only during that instance of screen, Or you can change your default in this file here, if you have one. If you don't, you can create. And you can look in the system to see what the system has. The file that contains, let's use last here, that contains the settings for screen, if you don't have your own file, is this one here. So /etc/screenrc, this contains lots of settings for screen. Here you go, close to the top, depth, scroll back, 1024. If you don't put this option in the configuration file, the default is only 100 lines. So the system, the general system setting is 1024. But you can change that in your own .screenrc file. I don't have one. If I list here with -A to look at the hidden files, and I have to go into copy mode because I'm inside of a screen and I cannot go up. Let's see, I don't have a .screenrc file. So I'll press Q to get out of copy. Then I could create a .screenrc file and put here a def scroll back. And then I want to say that I want 5,000 lines instead of 1024. I could exit my screens with Ctrl+AK or with exit as well. And when I do exit in the last screen, the last one still alive inside of the session, let's see if I have any others. Ctrl+AN, it says no other window. I don't have other windows. So if I press exit here, screen is terminating. There is no more screen running in this session of mine here. So if I try screen -R, it will tell me there is no screen to be resumed. If you are running screen on a remote server, doing your analysis, and then you try to come back and try screen -R and it says there's no screen, that is usually a bad sign. It probably means that your remote server crashed, rebooted for some reason, something like that, because the screen that was running disappeared. At the very least, screen might have crashed. I never seen that happen, but who knows, it could happen. There's always a first time. Right, so that's the screen program. It is a very interesting program for keeping your sessions alive, very useful in research. I keep a screen session running at all times in my servers. I have my 2 servers running. I can show you right now one of them, so you can see a bunch of screens inside there. Here is the remote server in the lab, is a big machine. And if I do here screen -R, now I'm inside of my session. I can do Ctrl+AP, and I can see all the screens I have there in 2 different servers actually. You can see that here is at the machine called Boto, and here is at the machine called Yggdrasil. So I have 2 different machines and lots of different screens here, different analysis. If I know which screen I want to go to, I can press Ctrl+A and then the number of that screen, 7 for example. I just went to screen 7. It says up here, screen 7. Or I can go to Ctrl+A1, goes to screen 1. You can change the name of the screens if you want. There's lots of different things that you can do with the screen program. So explore it, it's very useful. As you can see, it can do much more than NoHub. NoHub just keeps one command alive as long as you don't need to interact with it. You don't need to look at its screen again. It works fine. So it might be all you need. But if you want something that lasts for a long time and you can go back inside and interact, go out and all that, then use screen. Right? I hope that's useful and see you later. Bye-bye.